Hi guys, it's Ms. Ayers. I've put together a video for our next class, hoping that you can get the maximum points allowable for this phase of the research project. Okay, so in our next class you have two smaller assignments due. One of them is the research file. The other one is the tentative bibliography. I'm going to explain both of these. So in our next class, I'll be checking your research file. I'll give some work time and then I'll come around student to student and ask to see your research file. So it should be a binder or a folder that has printouts of your sources, all the research you've done so far. The first thing I'm going to be doing is looking to see if you have your sources. And so I'm going to be looking for 5 sources. And the next thing I'll be looking at is, have you been reading them? Does it look like you've taken notes or highlighted or underlined anything on your sources? So if the answer to both these questions is a confident yes, you have 5 sources, and I can tell you've begun to do some thinking about your research project, then you get 5 composition points. And 5 composition points make everyone really happy. The other part of the assignment that's going to be due in our next class is your tentative bibliography. This is the harder part of the assignment. So first of all, a bibliography is a list of your sources, all the sources you're going to use on your paper. Your bibliography will become your works cited page by the end of this unit. By the time you write the paper, you'll have a works cited page as the last page of your research paper. In putting together your bibliography, consult pages 5 and 6 in that purple packet I gave you. And if for some reason you don't have your packet with you at home, I've also put an electronic copy of it on the portal in the resources tab in the research project folder. And remember, to fulfill the requirements for this next assignment, you have to have a minimum of 5 sources. Let's start really simple with this tentative bibliography. I have this idea that if your bibliography can pass a 1-second test, you've got a pretty good bibliography. So what I mean by a 1-second test is, if I look at your bibliography for 1 second and can find mistakes in it, you've got problems. But if after a second I don't see anything right away, that means you're doing a lot of important things right. So to pass the 1-second test, here's what you need to have. You need to have an MLA heading, and we've talked about that in class. Let me know if you don't know what that is, or you can shoot me an email. Your bibliography also needs to be alphabetized. That means it needs to be alphabetical by the first element of each work on the works cited or on the bibliography. So out of all the information that you're required to give, the information that you give very, very first is what you alphabetize by against the other sources. We'll talk more about that. The other thing you need to make sure you have are hanging indents to pass the 1-second test. So what I mean by hanging indents is, if you have a works cited, the indents are the opposite of what they are for paragraphs. So for example, here's the first line of the citation, and then every line after that is indented. So that's a hanging indent. Okay guys, here's where it gets more technical and more precise and easier to make mistakes. I'm going to walk you through how to create a citation for your bibliography. So right now I think most of us have primarily web sources. So what I've done is I've taken the information on page 5 through 6 in the packet, and I've presented the citation form for works cited only on the web pages. Now pay attention. You're not necessarily going to have information for each of these 9 areas. And when you don't have information for that area, you skip it and you move on to the next one. So let me walk you through this. If I had your assignment, I think I would probably elect to research the Michael J. Fox Foundation for Parkinson's Research, because my mom has Parkinson's disease. So if I went to the Better Business Bureau Wise Giving Alliance, that charity reporting site we looked at on the lab day, here's how I would put together the information from that web source. So the first thing I would look at would be the name of the author, compiler, or editor. Well, when I look at that web source, there is no author name. There's no compiler or editor name. So I'm going to skip point 1. Okay, so point 1 I'm going to skip. So the next thing I'm going to look at is the title of the article and put it in quotes. Well, if I look at that web page, I see the title of the article is The Michael J. Fox Foundation for Parkinson's Research. All right, so that's what I'm going to type there. Okay, so I've got that. So the next thing I need to find is the title of the publication, the name of the web page or the name of the website. That's easy enough. The name of the website is the Better Business Bureau Wise Giving Alliance, and I put that in italics because that's what you're supposed to do with that, or underline it. So the next thing I need to look at is volume number, issue number, other distinguishing information. I don't have anything for that, so I'm going to skip that. Okay, the next bit of information I need, point 6, whoops-a-daisies, is the date of the publication. So the date of the publication is usually available at the top and or the bottom of the site. And at the top of this site, I see that. According to the website, their information was given on September 2012. So that's the date of the publication. The publication of the medium for a web page is web. So it's web opposed to print. So that's really simple. The date of access just means the day that you found this on the website. So let's say I just found that today. Well, I'm going to put today's date. So the date I'm recording this is the 17th of September 2013, and I'm going to use that goofy MLA style with the day first, then the month, then the year. Then the last thing I would need would be the URL address or the website address. So here goes with that. So here I've copied and pasted the whole web address for the site, for the Better Business Bureau report on this particular charity. So what I've got here is a big fat list of all the information. It hasn't been put into bibliographic style. So all I need to do is plug in all this information into the right order with hanging indents, and then when I get all 5 sources, alphabetize them, and I will be well on my way. So here's what this should look like if I've done my job correctly. Okay, so when I plug in all the information that I've compiled, here's what I have. I don't have an author name, I just have the name of my article, the name of the web page, the name of the sponsor of the website, the date of its publication, the media form, that it's not a print source, it's electronic, it's from the internet, the date I accessed it, and then the actual name of the web page if anyone else wants to look at it. So you'll notice I underlined this stuff because I couldn't italicize it on this particular app without italicizing the whole thing. You'll also notice that I have a hanging indent here. So the indenting goes the opposite of a regular paragraph. Usually in a regular paragraph, the first line is indented and then all the rest aren't. This one, we tab all the lines after the first. And that can be tricky to figure out on Word, but if you hit return and then the tab key, usually it'll work. And then when it comes time to alphabetize this source with my other sources, this will be alphabetized by Michael, because that's the first word in the article name. If I had an author name, I would alphabetize it by the author's last name first. So I hope that helps. Keep referring to that last slide in this one as you go through the kind of tedious work of putting this together. Here's a question I get a lot. Can't I just use easybib.com or whatever the latest generator is to make a whole bibliography? Here's the short answer. No. Here's the long answer. Yes, but only if you plug in all the information. So the problem with something like easybib.com is the way most people use it. What they do is they just put in the URL, they put in the web address, and then they have the web source figure out the bibliography. That never works right, and I can spot it from 50 yards away. So if you want to use easybib.com, plug in all the information I gave you, like with the author name, the article title, etc., etc., etc. So, okay, you can use it if you use it correctly. But to use it correctly, it takes about as much work as actually typing it yourself. And to give you a sense of perspective, this assignment is only worth 5 points right now. So don't use that to blow off the assignment and think, well, it's only worth 5 points. Why would I do that today? Work that hard for 5 points. The deal is it's going to be worth a lot more later. And writing a bibliography is a real pain. There's a lot of technicality to it. I expect you to make mistakes right now. So if you try on this and you write a very unsuccessful bibliography, I might give you like a 60 on it. That means you're going to lose 2 points. And then you can improve it for the next time. And by the time we get to the final draft, you're going to have a very good bibliography or works cited page. If you don't do it, by the time we get to the final paper, it still won't be in good shape, and you're going to lose way more than a couple points. So the fact that it's worth only 5 points now, allow that to give you the freedom to make some mistakes. Just try. Okay, guys, good luck with everything. Let me know if you have any questions, and make sure you have your work done for our next class. Thanks.